Tonight you're in for a treat, a first-time guest for us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know, I could talk the rest of the show about this lady.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm her biggest fan.
Yes.
But one thing that I want to point out.
Yes.
Her first 90 days, she took office, I think, in 2016.
Yes.
Her first 90 days, 126 violent criminals off the street in the first 90 days.
I love it.
That's
I
a
love
woman
it.
getting the job done. Right
She
there.
is, and I've known her for years as well and concur. She is really a phenomenal
special.
woman. So I want to give a special welcome to Lanice Washington. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yes,
Good evening.
yes.
Great to have you on, Lanice.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank you for staying up late with us. We know that these can be late evenings, but we
Yes.
appreciate you being
Oh,
here.
I'm enjoying being here. Thank you for having
Excellent,
me.
excellent. Well, first thing we do is we ask that you would just greet our guests, just tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do and why you do what you do.
Yes.
Well, I'm Lanice Washington. I serve as the district attorney for Jefferson County Bessemer Cutoff area. As we know that we're the only state, probably around the country, with 2 elected DAs in 1 county. And I serve the Bessemer Cutoff, proudly serve the Bessemer Cutoff, and we prosecute criminal cases. We prosecute those people who violate laws, and we have a process for doing so.
Yes.
And there was a time that your salt was you were worth your salt. Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Your weight in salt
Yes.
as a prosecutor.
Yes.
If you were putting people in prison, and we quickly learned that you cannot incarcerate our way out of these situations.
Right.
There are people who have to be accountable.
Yes.
But everything we can incarcerate our way. So what we do in my office, we promote public safety, maintain the public trust,
That's good.
as well as empowering our youth for the future.
Lanice, would you tell our folks just a little bit about the process? Because I think it can be very confusing. The role the police play and how they bring the evidence to y'all and what y'all do from there in making decisions about what to do to protect the community.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, there's a reason why police officers are called first responders. They are often the first ones to the scene. They collect evidence, and then they bring that information, everything that they have learned about that situation, they bring it to the district attorney's office. We look at those cases and determine whether there's enough probable cause to go forward. Oftentimes people get upset and say, you put my son in jail, but is the arresting authority are the police officers. But once it gets to the court part, of course, there are bailable offenses. Capital murder is non-bailable offense.
Right.
But once you have a bailable offense and you are out, and your next step is a preliminary hearing. Depending on the type of crime, you may end up having an Aniah's Law hearing, whereby you will not have be released on bail at that time until such hearing. Once you have a preliminary hearing, that case is either bound over or waived to the grand jury. So every felony that occurs in Jefferson County has to go through a grand jury. So whether it be Birmingham or the Bessemer Cutoff, every felony has to go to the, through the grand jury. Then it's assigned to one of our circuit court judges, and from one of our circuit court judges, sometimes cases are worked out or they go to trial.
And explain the grand jury process, because folks may hear that
That's
and not fully
confusing.
know what that is all about.
It
So
can be
explain that if you can. It can be, yes.
Well, oftentimes when people respond to their jury duty notice, they're thinking they're there to listen to one case. But with grand jury is totally different.
Okay.
We review about 200 to 250 cases in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
In 1 week. And our cases, grand jury, we convene every other month.
Okay.
And our grand jurors, those people who serve, they serve 3 cycles. So you hear everything from drug cases to those cases of violence against our youth. You hear murder cases, and some are funny and some are truly sad.
Right.
And those are secret proceedings. There's not a court reporter there.
Okay.
And I often tell the grand jurors, you are not the extended arm of the district attorney's office nor law enforcement. You are an independent body. You make your determination, you deliberate on these cases based upon the information that you hear from the officers, from the evidence.
And that grand jury either bounds him over for further proceedings, or they no bill them, right?
They no bill it or they true bill it. And
Right.
if they true bill it, bill the charge, then it goes to an indictment and it goes to trial level circuit court.
So Lisa, you've got 250 cases up to that. How many lawyers do you have? And then you've got to have the police officers who did the boots on the ground work for you, that wonderful work they do
Yes.
there. So you're coordinating all that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, this, you know, I didn't create this, so by the time I got on board, it was somewhat of a well-oiled machine.
Right.
But I have 16 lawyers that
Okay.
prosecute cases. Not every one of my lawyers participate in grand jury. Like I said, that is a special proceeding. It is a secret proceeding. And I want to make sure, that whenever my grand jurors leave, that they have a better understanding about the law. And I often share that they can take that information back to their families, their communities, so that we can have a better knowledge and maybe we can change our mind on doing things that we were thinking we were wanting to do that may violate the law.
That's
but
great
I
work.
love it.
Thank you for that.
I know you
Great work.
can't control this, but I've been trying for years desperately, and people at home are going to think I'm crazy. I want to be a juror. I just think it'd be such an awesome process to participate in, but I know that's just kind of luck of the draw.
Well,
You
you're
get a
one of few because most of the jurors, when I tell them they're going to sit here for a week,
Yes.
and then a month or so after,
Yes.
they're not so
Yes,
happy.
yes.
But once they begin to listen to the cases
Yeah.
and they begin hearing and they see the officers
Yeah.
that patrol their communities and they see the difference in how they present cases, they enjoy it.
It's so important. You know,
It's
we
so
do,
important.
our firm does jury trials on the civil side.
Yes.
And I am so grateful to those jurors.
Yes.
They sit there, and sometimes our trials are 2 weeks long,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we're so boring.
Yes.
But they do a wonderful job,
Well,
and they
Yes.
get it right.
Yes.
Commendable to all of those that have served on juries and will in the future.
Yes.
It's your American right and duty to do so, so thank you.